Well, hello. Um, Hello, everyone. My name is Reverend Alma Dunbar Savoy, and I am the host and creator of Abundant Living Everyday Legacy Series, which is all about sharing the amazing stories of ordinary men and women whom God has done some extraordinary things in our lives. And we're sharing our stories just so that you, no matter what you're facing, that you will know and you can see that God God, you can persevere, you can continue uh, through the amazing supernatural power of God. The power of overcoming and achieving through the power of God. And that we can not only survive, as Jesus told us, He came that we might have an abundant life, but that we can have an abundant life. And so, not only that we can survive, but we can thrive and have an abundant life each and every day. And so I'm excited to come today. I have another exciting story that we're sharing today. I'm so excited about the story that we're going to share today. I know that you're going to be blessed and enjoy it. So we're going to go ahead, jump right in, and just get started on our session for today. Just want to welcome my guests today. Welcome. I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself and just tell me a little bit about your background, where you grew up, and then how would you describe yourself?
Well,
Okay.
hello. How are you? Thank you so much for this opportunity. I am excited to be here on Abundant Living today. My name is DeLight Dee Jai Jackson. Um, DJ for some, most of the work that I do, I use DJ Jackson, but DeLight is my birth and given name. I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. Wonderful, wonderful Baltimore, Maryland. And I was born at Prince George's Hospital. A little bit about my background is I went to pretty much all the Baltimore City public schools on the east side. Um, but my high school was Baltimore City College High School. So city forever. That's where I went. And yes, just anyone who knows city, we know I'm gonna always say city forever.
Okay.
So I'm very proud of that accomplishment. I did do most of my college in BCCC, as well as working in the Baltimore City Police Department as a police officer
Right.
whilst doing college classes. So that was the start, and so many other
Okay.
things came from that.
Okay. Okay. So describe yourself. Some of the roles that you have now. Mhm.
Mm. First and foremost, I am a child of God. God is my
Okay.
father, God is my friend, God
Okay.
is the love of my life, God guides me. And as he
Okay.
guides me into the role of mother, daughter, sister, niece, friend, um, girlfriend, everything that he guides me into, he
Okay.
allows me to be the best version of myself.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you shared, child of God and you shared motherhood, but there's another aspect to you that we're going to get into later.
Yes.
So we will talk about that later. But right now, let me just talk a little bit about you shared about being a mother. So let's go ahead. I want to kind of go ahead and jump right on onto that at this point. Tell me a little bit about your journey as a single mom, and even how did you find yourself in this role?
Oh, that's a great question. First, I was married at the age
Mm-hmm.
of 25 years old. And like anybody else, I thought I'd be married for the rest of my life. I
Mm-hmm.
thought he was the love of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And life didn't happen that way.
Mm-hmm.
And when our daughter turned 3 years, 3 months old, sorry, 3 months old, um,
Mm-hmm.
he decided there was other things that he needed to accomplish in life, and it wasn't going to work out with our family. And that was devastating because I felt as though I failed God and I failed my child because
Mm-hmm.
this marriage was supposed to last, and I mean, I did everything the right way is what I thought,
Mhm.
I,
Mhm.
got married, we started a family, we worked in the church. He was the
Mhm.
pastor's armor bearer. I was a part
Mhm.
of the youth as well as on the, praise and worship team. So
Mhm.
how could this possibly happen? We've been working for God,
Mhm.
and, he had prayed for so long when neither one of us had children, and,
Mhm.
I had a lot of difficulties with that, and with that, God
Mhm.
blessed us with a child. So,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
um, after blessing with a child, I was just like, "It is
Mhm.
very true. Children do not mend things in
Mhm.
marriages." I don't want anybody to think
Right.
that, but I did not
Mhm.
believe that I was gonna find myself, at my daughter's tender age of 3 months, a single
Mm.
mother, trying to navigate the things that most people take for granted.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
didn't
Mhm.
know I believed that he was the head of our house. So
Mhm.
where
Mhm.
he went to church, we went to church. It was very hard
Mhm.
for me to try to figure out and navigate. I now have to be the head of the house and
Mhm.
take care of
Mhm.
it. But God
Mhm.
opened that roll up and he stepped in and I just
Mhm.
followed God.
How did you see your faith um, play out and help you at this time?
I lost faith a lot of times. I'm going to be completely
Mhm.
honest because I felt as though if I did everything that the Bible said I thought, that
Mhm. Mhm.
pastor said, that,
Mhm.
people said, and it did not work out. What am I doing
Mhm.
this for? I mean,
Mhm.
I am ultimately handicapping in my mind my child, and that's not right.
Mhm.
What was the purpose of all of this? And
Mhm.
so it took a lot of counseling. It took a
Mhm.
lot of praying. It took a
Mhm.
lot of falling and getting back up for me
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
say he always has me. He always have
Mhm.
had, and that he
Mhm.
didn't say everything was gonna be perfect. So,
Mhm.
this
Mhm.
testimony and this test will
Mhm.
provide exactly what she needs and what I need. But it
Mhm.
took years,
Mhm.
very
Mhm.
a lot of years for me to get to that place. And
Mhm.
I honestly can say recently I've gotten a better picture of which we usually do, back
Mhm.
then you kinda that testimony, I can let that be
Right.
my testimony and not something that
Right.
I'm leaning back on to
Right.
be, my kickstand. So,
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
yeah.
So you talked about your testimony, you talked about counseling. Are
Mhm.
there other things that helped you get through this time? Your faith you talked about?
My family, my faith,
Okay. Okay.
definitely my family was a village. Oh my gosh. I
Mhm.
know my daughter to this day did not know she was in a single family household because our family was her home. She knew nothing. It was just like family,
That's
family. I mean,
amazing.
for her,
Yeah.
and I didn't
Yeah.
know. I was the one who was still
Right.
suffering and carrying that burden, and she was like,
Right. Right.
great because her family
Mhm.
is so important, and she loves her family.
Okay.
Um, with my faith and my friends we also had back in the
Uh-huh.
beginning, it was a tea time that we started.
Oh, okay.
And
Mhm.
our tea time, we would get together and we would invite other women to come together and have a safe space to
Mm.
be vulnerable. Oh my gosh, I don't even think she was 2 years old at the time. And
Okay.
I remember looking forward to those moments because
Mm.
we as
Mhm.
Black women do not always have a vulnerable space, like a
Yeah.
honest and true
Y-
vulnerable space in
Yes.
faith and family and
Mhm.
friendships. So a lot
Mhm.
of times we didn't know the people that were coming, and they
Mhm.
still had the
Mhm.
opportunity to say, and their safe space stayed a safe space no matter what it was.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So that was
Uh-huh.
a big part.
Okay. Are there additional challenges? What were some of the biggest challenges as a single mom that you found then, but even now? Let's bring it forward to where you are now.
Mhm.
What are some of the biggest challenges as a single mom that you face, practically as well as emotionally?
Practically finances.
Yes. Okay.
Finances, I'm doing this by myself. Sometimes, finances and pride,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because for a long time I carried that as well. I had to be a strong Black woman and raise a strong Black woman. No more of
Mm-hmm.
that. No, no, no.
Mm-hmm.
I can
Mm-hmm.
cry. She can cry. We cry together. I tell her, if
Right.
you feel like crying,
Yeah.
it's okay, cry. It's all right. I feel
Right.
like crying. We're
Right.
gonna cry. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Having that then, and I did not do that then.
Mm-hmm.
I did
Mm-hmm.
not cry. I needed her to see. And what happened then that made me change and start changing until now was, she was probably about 5 years old. Our neighbor said, "Hey, I can help you with the groceries. I am bringing groceries in one bag at a time." And my
Mm-hmm.
daughter stood at the door and said, "Oh no, she doesn't need your help. My mom is strong. She can do it all by herself. She can do everything by herself." I
Wow.
stopped. I looked at him. I said, "Yeah, help me with those groceries." And that was it.
Yeah.
It was like,
Uh,
sometimes I still got to catch myself, but that
yeah.
was the turning
Yeah.
moment that I saw.
Yeah.
I'm giving her the example that I would love for her to
Yeah.
have.
Right.
So,
Right. Where do you think that comes from? That and which is so predominant across, like you're saying, our Black women. We just
yes.
where do you think that comes from?
It comes from my family. We
Uh-huh.
have a very strong matriarch in our family where my grandfather was there, and we
Mm-hmm.
knew him, and he was strong, and he worked hard.
Yeah.
And I remember wanting to pattern having a man like that. A man who made me laugh. My grandfather made me laugh. A man who worked hard, who provided
Mm-hmm.
for his family, who
Mm-hmm.
loved his family,
Mm-hmm.
and could still do practical jokes. He did a lot of those with me that I remember. But our grandmother was the silent, like the silent, steady strength
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
family. She
Mm-hmm.
didn't
Yeah.
she didn't yell, she was
Yeah.
quiet, but we ran everything by my grandmother Muddy. We running
Mm-hmm.
everything by
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Doing this, but
Yeah.
after the
Yeah.
passing of my grandfather, it just trickled down that we don't have a lot of men in our family.
Mm-hmm.
Since the passing of a couple.
Right.
So what we did was, we the women took that charge. And so
Right.
that trickled down to my generation, that the
Mm-hmm.
women started taking charge, and you just kept going. And I saw
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
I also had that imbalance to me now in my
Right.
marriage, where
Right.
I took that charge, and um I know that had some things that we
Right.
should have discussed. There was some things with that.
Right.
In my life now, I see the difference.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
see the
Okay.
difference. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So what advice would you give to
Mm.
young women, single mothers, particularly, who might be facing the same kinds of challenges? They're just trying to balance so much. They have so much going on. Like you said, they're single. What advice would you give to them?
First, give yourself some grace.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Give
Good. Good
yourself some
advice.
grace. Give yourself some love,
Mm-hmm.
because we're running and doing so many things that grace and love, we are in a lot of short supply. And
Mm-hmm.
then
Mm-hmm.
we get so down on ourselves with that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, so we're piling it on ourselves. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy your life, because although you
Mm-hmm.
are a mother,
Mm-hmm.
you have a responsibility, but you can't teach someone when you're not being an example.
Right. Right.
So if
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how to bake a cake if I've never baked a cake before.
Right.
So I
Mm-hmm.
can't tell my daughter how to enjoy her life, honestly, if I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
enjoy my life as well.
Okay.
And so that's my thoughts on that.
That's such good advice. That's such good advice. Are there other things for self care that you do for yourself that you could share? That's a part of your story.
I just started
Okay.
trying to make a routine.
Okay.
This is my favorite, saying no. I say no. That is a part of my self-care. And I am a yes, yes, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And
Mm-hmm.
or I can
Mm-hmm.
see my phone, I'm like, I'm not answering that. I don't have
Uh-huh.
to. I don't want
Mhm.
to.
Mhm.
It's okay.
Mhm.
You know,
Okay.
not to the detriment of me putting things off, but
Right,
to the
right.
moment where I feel overwhelmed or I just need a moment to breathe. It's okay.
Absolutely.
No,
Yes, yes,
I'm,
yes.
I'm so that's
Yeah.
one. And taking a break to just have like something to make me laugh. If it's a TV show, if it's
Okay.
having game night with my
Okay.
family,
Okay.
um, but not working, just having a time to laugh because
Right.
that's a healing power within itself.
Right. Okay. Okay. So last question about single motherhood.
Okay.
Uh, in what ways has being a single mother changed your whole perspective on life or shaped your aspirations for life?
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
another great question.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at some photos the other day, and one of the biggest things I noticed is I've had a lot of big dreams, and I've had a lot of dreams, period. But in
Mm-hmm.
all of those dreams, my daughter has watched me and has
Mm-hmm.
always spoken to her friends and to others my dreams as
Mm-hmm.
though they are reality more than
Mm-hmm.
I have. So
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
has been a push and a burden. So it's like I'm like, okay, I can't let. In the beginning, it was I can't let her see. Okay, I want to do this. I'm gonna pursue this part of the dream and let her
Mm-hmm.
see it. But I can't let her see me struggle and all the other stuff. And now it's like, oh no, she needs to see it all because this is what a dream is.
Mm-hmm.
It's built on sweat, tears, and
Mm-hmm.
loss and
Mm-hmm.
wins. So,
Mm-hmm.
being a single mother, that is, oof, that's yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would definitely say letting her seeing me and her pushing me and burdening me with making sure that I know who I am because I said I
Okay.
was who I am. And whatever I
Right.
say I am, she believed it, so I have to believe it.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. So now I want to just split this road that
Mhm.
we're going down to the other path, and so I happen to know you didn't mention it at the outset when we were talking about
Right.
describing yourself. So I know that you are an author.
Yes.
You have written two books, I think it is two books.
Mhm.
You are a film producer, film writer.
Mhm.
What else? You can tell us what else. But I guess the whole in the creative arts area there. Tell us a little bit about that path for you. What led you to that path, and what path are you on in that area?
Um, I'll speak on what I had do, and I didn't do that on purpose because I figured we'd get to it toward the end as well. Um,
Okay.
I am a author, a writer, director, actress, producer, um, and I like to say my real gift is uh, giving someone else the opportunity to do something they've never been able to do, but always
Mm.
wanted
Mm.
having that space. So
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
really why I love what I do now.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and I started writing. I've loved reading. I could sit in the house
Uh,
and read I remember I didn't even get punished one day. And I was reading the Reader's Digest and I was reading Mary Higgins Clark, which is a suspense author. She's wonderful. And I'm sitting in the house and I remember my mom coming home from work saying, it was a beautiful day. I was like, why are you in the house? And I said, I have
uh-huh.
to finish this book. And it was like from the time I got home from school till the time I was supposed to go to bed, I was not
Mhm.
gonna put that book down. It was so good to me. But what I
Mm.
realized is I could see everything in my mind that I was reading. So I didn't need
Oh,
the TV. I made those characters alive in my mind, and I just wanted to know what was gonna happen next.
I see.
After
Mhm.
that, our church, the church that I was attending at the time, Church of the Redeemed of the Lord, were doing different things with young people and youth. And I was like, you know what? I want to write a play.
Mm.
So I did that. And then it was like, oh, you know what? I want to do a fashion show. And it would just gave me the outlet to do things that
Mm.
we're creative and
Mhm.
stepping out of the box. Let's
Mhm.
have a shut-in. Let's,
Mhm.
play these
Mhm.
games. Let's think outside the box with that. As I
Mhm.
got older, I remember in high school all the way, yeah, I was in high school when I wrote the screenplay, but I didn't tell my mother because I knew I wasn't supposed to give out my information.
Mhm.
But I wrote a
Mhm.
poem and I submitted it and I gave her information. I was like, oh God, I'm gonna get in so much trouble. And then they sent a letter back. My mother was like, what is this? And the poem was published within 100
Wow.
other poems. And
Oh,
I was
okay.
like, I
Mhm.
think I submitted a poem. And
Mhm.
at that point, I was like, I can do this for real. Like somebody likes what I'm
Yeah.
doing. And it's just,
Mhm. Mhm.
I remember
Mhm.
writing songs for our
Mhm.
church. Some of me and my girlfriends will write songs for the church.
Mhm.
And I was in English honors in high school. And Mr. Edwards was my honors English teacher. And he was just like, you like to tell stories, but you tell too many details. And I was like, dang it.
Oh,
So it
okay.
taught me how
Mm.
to take some of the
Mhm.
creative and put it in the right frame. And I
Mhm.
continued to learn. Being a police officer, I learned so many stories. So then I would just sit home and I would write poems and
Mhm.
stories, but they were just for me. It was my personal, uh, I guess, treasures. And
Okay.
I always kept saying, I'm gonna publish this one day, I'm gonna publish that, and I'm gonna do
Mhm.
it. And I had the opportunity to move to Atlanta, Georgia, where I am now.
Mhm.
And I just was like, I gotta do something. I felt that I don't know. I felt like an itch. It was.
Yeah.
I know it
Yeah.
was God just on me, and I sat up
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
weekend and I said, I'm writing a short story, and I
Mm.
wrote the first one, figured out how to publish it, didn't tell anybody because I just felt like this is crazy to do. And
Mhm.
once it was, of course, my village, my family were so supportive. They were with me, and the
Mhm.
whole time I'm sitting there like, "Oh," it turned out really
Mhm.
great, and so I wrote the second one, and I haven't stopped writing since then, but more
Oh,
things
okay.
decided to come up about it. I started doing movies.
Okay.
um, I was asked to do, a couple of films in theater before I went. My mom pushed me before I left Maryland to go. She was like, "You know what? Do something with this." So I went to the
Mhm.
Actors Conservatory, the studio in DC on 14th Street, and went to acting school,
Mm.
and that was that was my bright light into some other things, learning what I could
Okay.
feel. I'm done.
Oh. Well, are there particular themes or messages you're trying to convey through through this medium, through this art that the film and the books and all that?
Um, sometimes the messages are no, a lot of them are suspenseful. I do realize a lot of my messages are suspenseful because in life we hold our breath a lot of times because we don't know
Okay.
what's coming next. So I
Okay. Okay.
do like that pause in life to figure out what's coming next because that's reality.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then I have that same where I believe God is always going to win no matter how bad the situation. So I do
Okay.
have that also. It's like, we're going to win. You just don't know how you're going to
Mm.
win, but we're going to win.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
do have that theme. But sometimes it could be they're a little out there. I don't know sometimes in the recesses of my brain where some of these things come from, but they are sometimes really out there. But the outcome will make you think. That's my favorite. You're gonna think. You're not gonna just
Mhm.
like, oh, I know this is gonna happen. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
this is gonna happen. Nope,
Mhm.
not at all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What are the challenges and the challenges and the lessons that you learn along the way?
You know, getting older, you don't realize you're still learning as much as you're learning and still going through so
Mhm.
many different things.
Mhm.
Lately, one of my biggest challenges, I've been afforded to go to a few film festivals, and even being an actress, even being a director, I am an introvert by nature, which most people don't
Mm.
understand is a big thing. So I have to gear myself up because I have to learn to network. Our
Mm.
people, you have to be able to work with people So be able to work with yourself, for yourself and
Right,
do the things you
right,
really want to do.
right.
So networking has been really hard because that's another part of that pride thing. It's like, I don't need
Mm-hmm.
anybody, I don't need help. So networking is a part of saying, I'm going to need some help. I don't
Right.
know this. Can you show
Mm-hmm.
me this? Can you
Mm-hmm.
provide a
Mm-hmm.
way of understanding for me here? So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
been a real big struggle, as well as, um, you know, learning the people to trust in the industry,
Okay.
learning who to give stories to and make sure your stuff is copywritten,
Right.
learning, the different facets of doing something
Mm-hmm.
quick and then doing something with patience and prayer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
those things I would say.
Okay. Okay. So how has mother being a mother influenced all this? Or does it influence it? Is it separate, or how does motherhood influence it, or is it more uh separate from that?
No, motherhood, and not just influences it, pushes it. Because
Okay.
sometimes I just want to say, you know what, this is it's too much. I can spend more time with her, or
Mm-hmm.
something else. I realized, yeah, I can spend time with her because she has a
Mm-hmm.
niche, and she's like, I want to be in your next play. I want to be in your
Mm-hmm.
next movie. I want to be,
Oh.
I'm working
Uh,
on a short Christmas movie right now. I'm editing it. We've been working on it. That was a surprise.
okay.
And as I was working on it, I remember her saying, um, Mom, what's holding you up? And I was just like, oh, my cameras, stands, things that I need.
Mm-hmm.
And for Christmas, this little woman decided, you know what? I'm going to buy my mom another camera. So she bought me a
Wow.
camera and
Wow.
two stands, one for my phone, one for the camera. And look, she looked at me like, okay, now you have no excuses.
Exactly. Right.
So it's like,
Right.
as much as I push and I encourage her, she pushes and encourages me, which
Mhm,
makes me feel like, again, you know what? I would
mhm.
have loved her to have had this, three-parent house, well, two-parent household,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm,
She's
mhm.
showing me that it's gonna be a struggle. It's gonna be hard, but that's the best part about it because I get to see the benefits and, the rewards afterwards. So
Okay, okay, okay. Um, what advice would you say to someone who aspires, to go down this path, and
mm,
with all the struggles and everything going on, and you mentioned slightly about knowing who, and we know there are a lot of maybe uh, superficial, and untrustworthy people in this field.
yes.
So what advice would you give someone who's, they, like you said, they're a novice, they don't really know, but they just know they aspire to be creative in this way? What would you say to them?
Do it.
Mm.
The first time I finished a book, it was, I don't know other people's choice of faith, but it
Mm-hmm.
was the
Mm-hmm.
expression of God to me saying, "Well done," in a little way.
Mm.
Because
Right.
I took
Mm-hmm.
what he gave me, the gift
Mm-hmm.
and the talents he gave me, and I did something with it. And to
Mm-hmm.
me, it was small. But then when
Mm-hmm.
it came to fruition, it wasn't, because it was completed, and he was just like, "I have more." And we asked for those
Mm-hmm.
open doors, and those open doors will kick open another door and kick open another door. And each
Mm-hmm.
one, I feel closer and closer to him, because I'm like, "You
Mm-hmm.
gave me this, and it's so much of what you gave me that I can give
Right.
other people. I can show other people.
Right.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
do it." I met, and in doing it, he will allow people into your life that
Okay.
are good for you.
Right.
You will allow
Mm-hmm.
people in your life that you need to have discernment. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, I remember
Mm-hmm.
right before one of the movie premieres here in Atlanta, I had some friends come to visit, and we went to Ponce City. And I remember just like, I mean, I was in host mode, and I wasn't thinking, and I'm walking around, and we're going to a store, and then my sister coming to the side of me, and she's like, "DeLight, there's Tabitha Brown. And I was like, what are you doing? And she was there. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this woman who I admire, who works so hard, who, you know, was Uber driving and everything else, her health
Wow.
was failing, was
Mm-hmm.
standing not 20 yards from me, 20 feet from me. And I said, oh, what am I going to do? And I just remember first I clammed up in that show. And my sister was like, you need to go over there and tell her about your premiere. And I was like, what a
Mm.
this is Tabitha Brown. And I didn't realize she was standing next to the owner of the shop as well. And they were having a
Mm.
conversation. And I was just like, I don't want to be rude, but
Mm.
we were purchasing things, and then we went up and I just said, excuse me, I just wanted to tell you how, you inspire me and I appreciate all that you're doing.
Mm.
And my sister was like, she just start talking to us, like, what are you doing? The owner of the shop. And I remember that conversation resonated because one of the things she was like, God just told me to tell you, shine your light.
Wow.
She's like,
Mm.
shine your light. And my sister's like, her name is DeLight, right? And she's like, really? And I was like, yeah. And so she was like, well, look at God. And I was just like, yeah. She's, we took pictures. And the owner of the shop was like, just keep me informed on when you're doing things. This is amazing, and
Mm. Mm.
we
Mm.
have a network. We have a
Okay.
group of people. So I would
Okay.
just tell them, just do it.
Okay. Okay.
Start.
Well, it sounds like this has been such a fascinating conversation, and it sounds like it might be a part two coming with you're aspiring to continue to write and continue further. So I just want to kind of maybe wrap it up with a couple of questions. First of
Mhm.
all, can you share one of your two of your most memorable experiences that you've had that have had a significant impact on your life?
Okay, well.
Mm.
Oh man, so many. I would definitely say the incidents of
Okay.
meeting Tabitha Brown was one.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and my first movie premiere would be
Okay.
another.
Okay.
Just seeing the people's reaction to something and seeing a movie in a movie theater on screen.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
amazing. My movie. That was amazing. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Def
Okay, then what are some things that excite you about life?
Mhm.
Just sharing, particularly around just sharing your story and having someone else hear. You're writing stories, but have someone else hear your heart, hear your story. What's exciting to you about that?
It's exciting that the characters come alive for them to want to yell at the characters on screen. And it's exciting that they're like, why would you do this? And why would you do this? And do more of this. And we want to see this. And I allow them in the movie to tell me what they want to see or what they
Okay.
expect to see so that I can try to
Okay.
write it for them to see
Mm.
if that's going to really happen. And I used to do
Okay.
that. I used to have a one woman show and I did the same thing in the one woman show because your audience is who you're telling your story to. So they should have a say in it as well.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah.
this might be an easy question for you. I always ask everyone that's sharing their story this. The
Mhm.
philosopher William James said that the great use of life is to spend it for something that will outlast us. What do you feel from your life will outlast you?
My daughter,
Okay,
uh, I believe the stories I tell through books,
okay,
movies, they will
okay,
definitely outlast me. And
okay.
one of the things that we just started, my sister and I, is a segment called Courage Chronicles. And this
Mm-hmm.
is the other gift that God gave that no matter what it is, He'll give you an opportunity to share. And
Okay,
that will definitely outlast because I believe that's going to always be someone having the courage to tell their story in a
mm-hmm.
different way, through
Mm-hmm.
trauma, from trauma to,
Yeah,
victory and their testimony. So
okay.
I believe that's gonna all outlive me because it's always a testimony to tell.
Okay. Okay. Uh, Next to the last question,
Hmm.
what is the most important thing that people should know about you?
I am willing to tell your story. I'm working on someone now telling his story in form of a movie,
Okay.
and I have the passion is you have the passion. Whatever your passion is, I want to help you with your passion is. I believe you'll believe in mine.
Okay.
So, yeah, I would say that. And I am a great storyteller.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Last question.
hmm
What would you like for your legacy to be?
Oh, I would like for my legacy to be a transparent story of not just the trials, not just the the loss, but the victories entwined with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, the humor entwined in that, the love entwined in that, the needed um, hugs and friends and family entwined in that. I would like my story to tell that I am human because God is in me. I have been
Mm-hmm.
able to accomplish the things of my dreams, though, not because of
Mm-hmm.
myself. So I want my story to be she was able to do this? No. Through God, everything that you see, she has, because nothing
Mm-hmm.
makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. I love that part
Mm-hmm.
about God because nothing about me makes sense.
Right. Right.
And I
Right.
love that. So, yeah, nothing about me makes sense but God. So,
Yeah. Well, everyone, there you have it. The amazing, fascinating story of DeLight Dee Jai Jackson, mom, child of God, film writer, film producer, author, uh, film director. There you have it all. Sharing her story on Abundant Living Everyday Legacy series, letting you know that no matter what the struggle is, you can persevere, you can overcome. You can not only survive it, but you can thrive. You can live through it and you can thrive and live abundantly in Jesus Christ. DeLight, I want to thank you so much for allowing me to share your story on Abundant Living Everyday Legacy Series. But we're sharing stories, every one, of ordinary men and women whom God has blessed in some extraordinary ways, telling our stories of abundant living every day. And as the curtain falls on today's story, everyone, until the next fascinating story, remember there's a story in you. There's a story in each and every one of us just waiting to be shared. Thank you so much again. Thank you
thank
so much
you.
again, DeLight. God
Thank
bless you, everyone, and look out for the next story. Okay.